Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into the incredible technology of ancient China.
Yes, it's a topic that's just full of surprises, really.
We've got some notes here outlining these key innovations, and the plan is to sort of unpack how their ingenuity really shaped things, both for them and, well, for the wider world.
Absolutely. It's amazing how much foundational tech came from that period. Things we often take for granted.
Okay, so where should we start? Maybe the big two, paper and gunpowder.
Sounds good. They're definitely headline grabbers. Paper, I mean, think about it. Before paper, you had bamboo, silk, much clumsier, much more expensive.
Right, so paper makes knowledge cheaper, easier to share.
Exactly. It really fueled bureaucracy, scholarship. You could suddenly write things down, keep records, spread ideas much more effectively. A huge shift.
And gunpowder. Initially not for war, I heard.
That's right. Started more with fireworks, ceremonies, alchemists looking for elixirs.
Huh. So the whole military application, that came later.
Yes, gradually. But once it did, it obviously transformed warfare, first in China and then, well, everywhere else eventually. Massive global impact.
And these ideas didn't just stay within China's borders, did they? The Silk Road must have played a role.
Oh, a huge role. It wasn't just silk and spices moving along those routes. It was ideas, technologies. Papermaking is a classic example.
It traveled west.
Slowly but surely. Reached the Middle East, then Europe. You could argue it was pretty fundamental for, say, the European Renaissance later on. Same with gunpowder.
Interesting. Okay, besides those, what about the foundations, like agriculture? That must have been key for supporting their civilization.
Absolutely essential. You see major innovations there, too. Things like the iron plow, which is much more effective, and really clever irrigation techniques.
Like the chain pump, I read about that.
Exactly. The chain pump allowed them to move water much more efficiently. All this boosts food production massively.
Which means more people, bigger cities.
Precisely. You get population growth, the rise of urban centers, people freed up from farming to do other things, specialization. It fuels the whole engine of civilization.
And they weren't just looking down at the soil, they were looking up too, right? Astronomy.
Yes, quite advanced. They kept incredibly detailed star charts, recorded comets, even supernova exploding stars.
Wow. Was that just academic curiosity or?
Oh, very practical, too. Their calendars were highly sophisticated, crucial for agriculture, knowing when to plant, when to harvest. Also important for imperial rituals and governance.
Okay, materials,
Yeah.
iron and steel. How did they stack up against, say, the Romans or others?
Well, the Chinese developed cast iron technology way earlier than Europe, centuries earlier.
Really? That's a big head start.
It was a huge advantage, meant better tools, stronger weapons, even things like plowshares for farming we just mentioned. A real cornerstone technology.
And managing a vast territory, water is always critical. Tell me about their hydraulic engineering. Sounds like big projects.
Truly massive, transformative even. Think large-scale canals, not just for transport, but for huge irrigation systems. The Dujiangyan system, for example, is still partially in use today, built over 2,000 years ago.
That's incredible. Real long-term thinking and sophisticated engineering.
Definitely. It reshaped the landscape, controlled floods, enabled agriculture on a vast scale, essential for supporting the empire.
Let's shift gears a bit. What about medicine? Any unique contributions there?
Oh, yes. Traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM, it's a whole system, very holistic, focuses on balance within the body.
Using things like herbs, acupuncture.
Herbal remedies, acupuncture are probably the best known aspects, but also diagnostic methods, theories about the body's energy, the qi.
And does that still have influence?
Absolutely. Its principles and practices are still widely used in Asia and increasingly studied and sometimes integrated into healthcare approaches in the West, too. A very enduring legacy.
Okay, back to maybe more hard power. Military tech, beyond gunpowder. What else?
They were masters of the crossbow, developed really sophisticated trigger mechanisms, making them powerful and accurate. Also siege engines, things like trebuchets.
So effective on the battlefield.
Very. And don't forget strategy. Sun Tzu's The Art of War. That's ancient Chinese military thought, and it's still studied by military leaders, even business executives, today.
Right, yeah. Fascinating. And lastly, just looking around at the landscape, things like the Great Wall. What does that tell us about their building skills?
Well, the scale is just mind-boggling, isn't it? The Great Wall, various grand tombs, pagodas, they show an incredible command of engineering, logistics, managing huge workforces.
Especially with the tools they had back then.
Exactly. It speaks volumes about their organizational capacity, their understanding of materials, and their ability to execute these massive, long-lasting projects. Pretty amazing architectural and engineering feats.
It really is an astonishing picture when you pull it all together. Paper, gunpowder, agriculture, astronomy, engineering.
Mhm.
The list just goes on.
It truly does. A remarkable period of ingenuity.
These innovations didn't just stay in the past either. They formed like the bedrock for so much global development later on. Makes you think, doesn't it?
It certainly does. And it prompts the question, what other innovations from ancient cultures, maybe less famous ones, are just waiting to be rediscovered or better understood?
Yeah, what forgotten knowledge might still hold valuable lessons for us today? Something to ponder.